The workshop was the beginning of a 6-month media fellowship program during which journalists are expected to understand critical issues on biotechnology and plant breeding, as well as how they can help Africa realize the much-needed food security. Biotechnology, the transfer of a gene of interest from one plant to another of different species, with the aim of enhancing its performance, has been hailed by some agricultural scientists as a great way to increase yields. The technology allows for crops to be genetically modified by injecting into them genes that possess unique traits that can resist drought, pests, or diseases. Course leader Benny Jones explains why it is necessary for African journalists to participate in the course.
Our interest in this whole project, Biosciences for Farming in Africa, has been to promote public dialogue and understanding of what scientific research over the last 100 years can offer the farming environment and farmers. And one of the best ways of doing that is by engaging the media, because the media are naturally tasked with bringing information to the general public and to farmers and to all sorts of other communities. But we started off with a training course which covered some of the history of agriculture and how plants have been bred and seeds have been developed and modified for tens of thousands of years by our ancestors.
During the training, agricultural scientists and plant breeders with the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research engaged journalists in discussions on various varieties of crops they were working on. Both journalists and scientists were optimistic the interactions they have had would lead to better understanding and application of knowledge for the benefit of society.
We had the opportunity of bringing journalists and then plant breeders specifically to come and explain the basic principles of plant breeding, and that includes how we come out with the GM products. The journalists on their part, I believe, would have understood some of the basic principles, appreciated plant breeding and the effort that goes into it. And for me, as a scientist, for the first time, I've had the opportunity to interact with journalists.
With this 4 days exercise, I believe I have been trained enough, and I have now met scientists at close range who have taught me a lot on bioscience for GM foodstuffs, if you like. I think the challenge has been that scientists are always reserved in their laboratories, and today they are out, they have met us one-on-one, and they've educated me. Personally, I have learned a lot that I believe is going to impact on my reporting.
Chairman of the Agriculture Committee, Dr. Ahmed Al-Hassan, believes genetically modified crops must be encouraged in Africa. He said Ghana has the resources to manage genetically modified organisms, and as such, Ghanaians must concentrate on how biotechnology will confront the problem of food security rather than focus on its demerits.